Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel and welcome to my FM23 Ted Lasso A.F.C. Richmond database. As always, thanks for joining me. It's massively appreciated. If you're brand new, feel free to subscribe, come join the family. Make sure you all hit that notification bell. But most importantly, thank you for your view. Now, last year on FM22, I created this database. It's quite successful. A lot of people liked it. I think there was an update and it messed around with the graphics, which some people couldn't figure out. But I enjoyed it and I don't think anyone else did it. This year I know quite a few people have done it, but I love doing it. So I thought I'd bring my database out again on FM23. So it's all been created by me, every single thing, apart from the kits. My good friend Greeno has done his very, very best to make some kits, but everything else is on me. Now, like last year, you're going to be able to download it and play it. But unlike last year, I only put out the save file last year. And, you know, people view things differently. You have to use a lot of creative freedom with something like this because it's a TV show or based on a TV show. Obviously, some people say, oh, Ted should have this attribute or Coach Beard should have this attribute or Jamie Tart should look like this or whatever. So I've loosely done my best with the majority of the staff and players. But I'm going to release the database so you can download that database and tweak it to your heart's content. So you don't have to moan at me. You don't have to say, oh, this should be this. You can tweak it and change it and make it suit you and your view of Ted Lasso and A.F.C. Richmond. I'll also put down below in the description a link to a save file if you just want to download that, drag and drop it and play straight away. There'll also be all the graphics, the logos, the kits and all that good stuff. So we're going to run through it, have a quick look, jump 5 years into the future, get to see how Ted gets on as well. We might as well, haven't we? Let's get into it. So here we are with Ted Lasso's A.F.C. Richmond. Now, if you don't know about this and you've just seen the video and you're like, who the hell are A.F.C. Richmond? It's based on a TV show. Season 3 has just come out on Apple TV about a team in London or Richmond who have an American manager. I won't spoil it for you. Go and check the show out. I assume that a lot more of you now know about it. The show is huge. And when I did my video last year, I got so many comments saying I've never heard of it. And people went and watched the show and loved it. And it is great. It is funny. I haven't actually watched any of season 3 yet. I'm not out of time. I will do it at some point. But I do love the show. And I love creating this. It's a lot of fun. And I love putting it out there for you to try out as well. So I built it all myself. And there's a lot of information you can find online. But only about a few key players. You can find the whole squad. I've got all the faces. But obviously you have to have a bit of creative freedom with things, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But here we are, A.F.C. Richmond. They're back in the Premier League in the TV show. They're nicknamed the Greyhounds, based in London or Richmond. I've put them in Richmond. Professional, founded in 1897. You can see Ted Lasso there as the manager. You'll also notice Roy Kent is the captain. If you are a fan of the show, you'll know Roy Kent is just a coach. We'll talk about that later. And we've got the vice captain, Isaac McAdoo, who is actually the new captain. They play at Nelson Road, which is famously Crystal Palace's ground. 25,000 capacity. It's obviously alright stadium. They've got no icons or anything. I tried to put some in. It didn't work. Rivalries. Richmond's quite close to Brentford, so I think it is. Because I've copied a lot from last year. So I created the Cross Thames Derby versus Brentford, so you've got a rival with them. You've got West Ham on it this year. You didn't have it last year, but if you watch a TV show, you'll know why. QPR, Fulham and Chelsea. This is where the creative freedom bit comes in, or one of them. The league history. I've given them the same stretch as most of the other clubs, and you can see they've been up and down back in the day, in and out of the Championship, Premier League, and it was like a mid-table team for a while, and obviously they got relegated in the show, but they've come back up, so they're back in the Premier League now. In the show, their famous coach, is it Nathan Shelley? He's left, he's gone to West Ham, and the former owner of the club from the very beginning of the series, whose wife Rebecca takes over, he's bought West Ham in the show, so I've put them in it. There he is, Nathan Shelley, although he goes dead grey in the TV show. He's the manager of West Ham on this, so you got a bit of a connection to the TV show. And you can see good old Rupert, the bastard, he's the owner as well, so if you took him over, I'm sure he'd say hello to you. But I just thought that's a nice little touch this year. So as you know, facilities, they play at Nelson Road, which obviously they use Selhurst Park. I'm guessing it made sense. It looks like the kind of stadium of a Richmond. And the colours match, don't they? So I bet that's easier. You have to change the colour seats. You remember Dream Team? Didn't they used to change like the hue? And use Chelsea a lot, didn't they? So, but they used to change the hue. So it went from blue to purple. I used to love Dream Team. I used to do Dream Team databases like this as well. But yeah, they play at Nelson Road in Richmond. As you know, 25,000 all-seater. Built in 1903, apparently. I found that online somewhere. I've put in this year that it was rebuilt or modernised in 1982. Now, I did see something recently that I didn't know. The history of Richmond. A little short clip on YouTube with Jason, can't say his second name, always tongue twist me. The guy who plays Ted Lasso. And there's like this bit of a history they put in where apparently, like, I don't know if he says it's the early 80s or maybe 79 and 80. For 2 years, Freddie Mercury owned Richmond. And if you notice on some of the sets, there's certain cabinets, you'll see a microphone, and that's supposed to be Freddie Mercury's microphone from when he was the owner. They kind of copied Watford and Elton John. I always love that, by the way. But they own the stadium, which is great. Pitch is great. Great training facilities. Decent youth facilities. Good academy. Average youth recruitment. There's a lot to do. It's not perfect. You could build this club up. The stadium could be expanded if you want. I like to put that in so you can grow the club to 50,000 if you can ever get there. Which should be alright if you stay in the Premier League. No history. I don't think they've ever won a cup. I didn't have an history on it last year. I'm pretty sure I found like a wiki fantasy page. You don't know how much of this stuff is true though. So they've never won a trophy, so that's going to be up to you. So as we know, we've got Rebecca Welton. She's the owner and she's good friends with Ted. I don't know if that'll help him keep his job though. We've got Leslie Higgins, managing director. He's in the TV show as well. And we'll have a look at Coach Beard and Ted and a few others. But you know, when it comes to the staff, it was rubbish and I wanted you to have a decent staff. So I've loaded up the game and looked for a good set of staff for you that were not attached to any club. You got some really good ones. It just gives you a head start. So here we are with Ted Lasso, and I've tweaked him a bit from last year. But like I said, you know, if you just download the save file, this is what you're going to get, right? And just play and have some fun if you're happy with what you see today. If you're not, you download the database, put it into your editor, and you can tweak things, can't you? Make it suit what you believe. Yeah. So here he is, 46-year-old American. I think he's pretty good. I think I've given him a chance. Anyway, he's got good mental coaching, motivating people management. That's Ted, isn't it, really? Here's his number 2, good old Coach Beard. Look at him, lovely face. Loves a hat, like me. So he's his assistant. He's obviously American as well. And yeah, I love Coach Beard. So the players, like I said, you need creative freedom, and there's certain things you can find online where you can get the skills, or you watch the show and you know certain mentals, right? But only some of the main stars. So some of the main stars have tried to be true to them, but a lot of the others I've just given them potential and current ability, and the computer will fill out the rest. So that does mean if you download this save file, you'll get what you see. If you download the database, it could change unless you want to put them details in yourself. Now, I've tried to make them a lower end Premier League team, but they do have some really good players, so it does pump them up with the bookies odds. It's the same squad as last year, but we do have the new star of the show, Zava. So let's quickly go through it. Third choice goalkeeper, Martin Demat. I wanted to free up some space in the squad because you're going to have 25 man. I wanted to give you options to maybe bring some people in. So I've put him out on loan at Wrexham for a season. Tom O'Brien, who apparently tears his butt in the TV show. He used to be the number 1, he's now the number 2. Or it can be your number 2, it could be whatever you want. Thierry, he is your number 1. I've made him hopefully your number 1. The Canadian, obviously with caps and stuff, you might notice. I had to be a bit creative for that because I didn't know, I couldn't find any information. So guessed. Sam is one of the main guys in it. He's a good player, centre half and right back. The 30-year-old Paul Reynolds, the Irishman, 12 caps. Big lad as well. Tommy Winchester, he's one of the good ones. You hear his name quite a bit sometimes. 27-year-old Englishman, centre half. Jan Maas, he's one of the main characters-ish. Dutchman, 28 years old. He's a centre half. Isaac, he takes over as captain, doesn't he? You fall out of love with football, they bring him back. So I've made him, because he's 25. So when Roy Kent does actually retire for you, he's a ready-made captain to take over. Arlo Dixon, 25 as well, English. Now, when it came to the date of births, I'm going to be honest with you, I put a lot of effort into last year's. But then obviously this year, I could be a bit lazy. So I just watched my old video and looked at all the date of birth. Some of them, I think I might have used the actual actor's age if I could find it. Things like that, right? So I've just copied the date of birth for everyone, sort of. Or the years they were born, at least. I think the majority of them might have the same birthday. Gareth Canterbury, he's 29-year-old left back, who plays wing back as well. Jeff Goodman, another left back. He's all right. 25-year-old Dane Anders Rosenfeld, defensive midfielder, can play in the middle. Maybe you can adapt him a little bit. Left-footed. Tyler Shannon, the Bolivian. Again, another good squad player. You have got some decent players, I'm not going to lie. I think you could have a lot of fun with this. Roy Kent, of course. Now, we don't play anymore on the TV show. He's a coach. But it's Roy Kent. You have a play with a bit of Roy, surely. You can have a season with him, hopefully, before he might retire. He's still a good player. He used to be the best midfielder in the league, apparently. Did he win in the season? I'm pretty sure he's won the Champions League with Chelsea. But I made him a player coach. As you can see, so he can just slot straight into that coaching role for you. Jack Dawkins, again, average player. I think he's wanted by Wolves on loan. Richard Monteleur. I think he's famous for having a bad pass in him, so I made his passing a bit average. Kukoc. Now, last year, he's like a young player. I don't think he's a big character. Last year, I gave him a bit of potential, and he was like the one youngster you had that was in the reserves that could come through. This year, I think he's a first-team squad player. And he has got a bit of potential. He could become a good player if you do the right things by him. Mo Bunberkach, what's a name? 26-year-old central midfielder. Colin Hughes, a Welshman. I think he's a decent character, I'd say. Decent-ish player. I did read some of that. Apparently, he's very good at crossing. That's why his crossing is 18. Danny Rojas, very big character and a very good player. Scored goals, I think, when Jamie Tart went there. I've kind of changed up a few players a little bit. They're not as strikers, so you could, have a very good front three if you can keep hold of him. And Danny, I think, is one of them. Robbie Roberts, again, Scottish player, can play up front, cover on the left from Zimbabwe. Kyle McCracken, winger, can cover up front. 28-year-old. He's all right. One of the biggest stars of the show. Bit of an arse, but he's all right. I like him. Again, I've made him able to cover on them wings. So you could probably have Danny on one side, Jamie on the other. He's got pace. He's got skill. He can hit a free kick. He's a good penalty taker. Yeah, he's very good. Really good. Just got a bit of an attitude sometimes, hasn't he? Although I thought I'd put his aggression up, because I imagine he's got a bit, really. So that's something you might want to change. Declan Cockburn. I said this last year, but my wife's old boss now, because she got promoted. His name's Cockburn. It's spelt like that, but he tries to say his name's Coburn. It's not, mate, is it? It's Cockburn. It is. I know. Come on. But yeah, he's a backup striker. I've loaned him out to Stockport because I don't think you really needed him, but you can, both players that are out on loan, you can recall if you want. And of course, the new boy, right? Zava, who is basically, let's be honest, a rip-off of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You've seen him, the way he looks, the way he acts in the TV show. He's been at loads of clubs, all that good stuff. So, I thought, how do I make Zava? Well, I duplicated, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, made him younger, switched his nationality. I didn't want him to be Swedish, so I made him Croatian, because I don't remember, from what I've read and some of my friends who have watched the first few episodes, I don't think they say exactly where he's from. So, he looks Croatian. He's Croatian. He's got a load of caps, load of goals, and he's very good. But if you can keep hold of him, fair play to you. Now then, you don't get any youngsters, right? Or you won't if you do the database, you don't check it off yourself. So when I start a game, I always check off, can't use the editor. It's just there. I don't even own the in-game editor, but I'll just check it off anyway. But on this one, on the save file, if you just download the save file, I've checked add key staff and players just to flesh out your youth team. It's not giving you tons. That's the under 21s. There's the under 18s, but it was giving me nothing, so you've got a little bit of extra players you can maybe work with, or at least gives you something in the background. Now, I've really tried to make them a bottom-end team. I've given them by far the worst reputation in the Premier League, and I've chipped away at that squad, and maybe got a bit too giddy with it, and I kept chipping away at it, and it's no different than some of them teams with ability-wise. They're down near the bottom, but it puts Richmond there in 8th, with West Ham in 9th. I think West Ham in season 3, from what I was reading, have predicted to be top 4, of course. So they're your new rival. You're going to go up against Nathan Shelley. I think that'll be quite exciting if you're a fan of the show. Now, you've seen the logos are in it, the kits are in it, all the faces are in it. So if you download the graphics, it is really simple. Just download the graphic file. You just drag it into your own graphics folder in the game. If you ain't got one, you create one. Dead easy. The save file you'll download, it looks like a little bit of white paper. Just drag and drop it into your save games. You can play it. Same with the editor. You download it, go into your editor in your folders, put it in there, and you can upload it and edit it. It is really simple. If you need any help, you can always get in touch with me. But it's really, really simple. Now, one thing I will say with the graphics, right, and some people don't get their head around this sometimes, is whenever I create a club and you create a club, we create a first club each, they've got the same ID code. So for instance, recently I made a St. Andrews database, right? So when I created St. Andrews for Argentina, it gave me an ID code for the club. So when I've created A.F.C. Richmond, it's giving me the same ID code. So if you're playing as that St. Andrews save, for example, you'll need to take them graphics out, put them somewhere safe, and replace them with the A.F.C. Richmond graphics. If you've downloaded someone else's custom league, custom graphics, face pack custom, right, for like a fantasy league or whatever, you'll have to take them out if you want to play this and have the graphics and put the A.F.C. Richmond's one in, because nothing can share the same ID code. A player face, a logo, a kit. If it's got the same ID code, it'll clash and it either won't work or it'll pick one or the other. So you just got to be, wary of that. So I'm going to take over Richmond just so we can look at the finances. But there you can see the beautiful Rebecca Welton. So yeah, let's have a look at the money. So I've given them decent cash. They've got an individual TV deal. You've got some commercial income, some kit sponsorships. It will flesh out a few others. It always does. But you're not mega rich. You just come up into the Premier League. So you've got 50 million to spend, 50 million in the bank. But you're in the Premier League. You'll make money. You've got a ton of money there in your wiggle room for your wages. So as soon as you take over, you don't just have to stick with this squad. You could try and add to it, can't you? Club vision for you. Record a Premier Division top half finish. I think you could, maybe. We'll see what Ted can do. Really, the last stage of the FA Cup, really the last stage of the Carabao Cup. So Rebecca wants instant success there. A bit of pressure. But like I said, in the database, you can change this all up to your heart's content without having to moan at me in the comments. Now then, I put two things in for the fans. I was playing entertaining football and develop players using the club's youth system, but this is putting a few more. Finish above Brentford, your arch rival. Finish above West Ham. Get the better of our rivals QPR if we play against them. So it's all the rivalry stuff there. You can see the supporter profile. Quite a lot of core ones. Good family section. A.F.C. Richmond. I've worked in Richmond. I might have mentioned that in last year's video. I used to work there quite a bit. It's quite nice. I'd say it's quite posh. Bit of money. So, I made sure the fans are a bit... Is it affluent in the editor? I think it's called affluence. Where you can, you say if your fans have got money or not. I think that's what I've done. So we've now jumped forward a year with Ted in charge, and I'm buzzing because he's still in charge. Always a worry that he might have got sacked. I'm very happy with this. I've holidayed 1 year and then I've holidayed another 4 years, so 5 years in total. I've not really looked through it. I don't really know. I don't know how well he does. I like to maybe keep that as a little surprise for myself. But he's still there. Roy Kent's still there, I'm guessing. And if you look at the very top, Ted Lasso finished 6th. Well done, got him straight into Europe. West Ham 7th. They'll be happy with that, won't they? Where's Brentford? Arch rivals have been relegated and actually just sacked their manager. I don't think he's retiring yet. Oh, it'd be good if you could get 2 years out of Roy Kent, wouldn't it? Eh? Gotta love him. Absolute nutcase. Let's have a look. So obviously they loaned some players out. Richard Montelar, they loaned to Lazio. Paul Reynolds went to Tigres. Robbie Roberts got sold to Burnley, and they've spent nearly their whole budget, 46.5 million. Loaned a couple of players, brought in a couple of players. Who've they got here? Savio Godwin, a winger. Javi Galan, a left back. All right, aren't they? To be fair, Robert Scoff, he's a winger, and they've obviously loaned some players. He's like a bit of a winger and a wing back. Who else did they loan here? Davinson Sanchez, defender. Ooh, wonder what you would do. Quick look through their season. Pre-season went pretty well, didn't it? Started off very strong. That's their strong position. Got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Arsenal in the 4th round. Hit a bit of a bad patch here, getting knocked out of the FA Cup 3rd round by Leeds. Got a bit stronger towards the end of the season, and fair play, 6th. So here we are now on the 1st of June 2027. We've gone all the way 5 years into the future, and unfortunately there's no Ted Lasso. They've got a few new players, new captain, new vice captain. Gutted. I was hoping Ted could make it to the end. He didn't last time. I think he won a trophy last time. I can't remember. I didn't watch the entire video. I'm sure he won a trophy, like a League Cup or something. So what happened, Ted? Well, he lasted to 2025, and then he got sacked. How could she sack him? I've made him best friends. She just sacked her best friend. Shocking. She might not even be the owner still, actually. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And then in 2 years, they've had Conte. He didn't last long. Spurs fans. They had Daniel De Rossi. He didn't last long. God, they've gone sacked crazy, haven't they? Now they've got Paul Heckingbottom. And of course, you might have noticed, they're no longer a Premier League team. In the Championship, they just finished 6th. Brentford going up, and they haven't. Oh, man. Heartbreaking for Richmond fans. So there's been no takeovers, so I'm sure Rebecca's still there. She is. So maybe, Ted lasted a good few years. Did okay, I'm guessing. And then got sacked. But then after that, she's gone crazy. Sacking managers left, right and centre. Leslie's still there with her. No Coach Beard. And poor Ted's not had a job in 2 years. I think he's decent. I would have loved to have seen him pick up a job. And I imagine if he went in the future, he should. Hopefully. Him and that beautiful moustache. I mean, he's still best mates with Rebecca. He's a lovely guy, though, isn't he? He's built up quite a few friends. He's a nice lad. Look at that. Look at them managers. Wow. Where's Coach Beard these days? He's done nothing. He got sacked with Ted. Or maybe he left with Ted. Out of pure loyalty. So we know they finished 6th. There it is. And the following year, they finished 11th. And then they finished 17th. Nearly got relegated. And I'm guessing that's the season that Ted got sacked. And then obviously he's gone crazy on it. He's got sacked around here. And they've been relegated 18th. And now they've finished 6th. So they're going to have to stay in the Championship. Do you know what I might do? I might put this save file down there as well. The 2027 save file. Because you might love A.F.C. Richmond. Not bothered about the players. You might want to save them. Bring them back. Now I've had a quick look at the squad and I don't think there's anyone left. But we'll quickly go through the transfers. So in that first year, they ended up spending a little bit more money. Obviously spent some in January. The next year spent 95 million. Brought in 50. So just 72 million. Look at that. They're getting Premier League money though now, aren't they? Good few years in the Prem. Wow. So there you go. Oh, look at that. God, starting recouping some cash there, aren't they? Should be rich. So we did look, and at the end of the first season, Zava requested to leave. But, and obviously I'm putting his playing history in. But in the TV series, apparently he's been to like 1 million clubs in 1 million years. Changes his club every year, but wins your trophies, apparently. Something like that. So he went to Chelsea. I think it was for like 45 million, and he's still there. Here's Jamie. He went to Manchester United. He stayed there for a good few years, though, to be fair. I think it was 101 million. He's now wanted by Bayern Munich. Roy Kent, as you can see, is still at Richmond. He's a coach, so he transitioned straight into being a coach. So it looks like you got 2 years out of him. You could get 2 years out of him. And he's still a solid player, despite his injury history. Now, West Ham is still owned by Rupert. But what happened to Nathan? Well, he didn't do very well. He only lasted till October in that first season. I thought he'd do okay. And he got sacked. Wow. And now they've had that Martino for ages. So we could go through loads, look at loads of players and do a load of things, but I don't want to waste any more time. I'm going to be putting out a save file at the beginning. I'm going to put this save file out. I'm going to put the database out. If you're interested in how this all went, just drop the save file into your game and have a good look for yourself. Discover it for yourself. If you just want to jump straight in and play, get the first save file and just pop it in and play. It's dead easy. And obviously if you don't agree with any of the things, you want to just tweak it a little bit, change it a little bit, you can. You can, feel free, get the database. I've enjoyed making it though. I won't be playing it, I ain't got time. But I do love this show, and if you haven't checked the show out, they're not paying me, but I'd recommend it. It's brilliant. So that is the end of my Ted Lasso FM23 database video. As always, thank you for your view. If you are brand new, feel free to subscribe, come join the family, hit that button, hit the bell as well. You'll never miss one of my videos. Go and check out some of my other content. Stick around for the new. But thank you very much. I've enjoyed making it. Hopefully you're going to enjoy playing with it and editing it and changing it and doing whatever you want to do with it. Feel free. It's going to be out there for you to choose. I know I haven't talked about it in loads of detail. I mean, like the TV series and some of the characters like I did last year, but I think the show's bigger now. I think most of you will know if you come in checking out this video. But if you haven't, go and watch the show. It's great. I'd recommend it. It's brilliant. And play this and let me know how it goes in the comments. Keep me updated on your A.F.C. Richmond saves. I'm off now to my son's school, like an Easter morning, where I've got to paint an egg, probably make a hat, all the good stuff. Can't wait actually, because I'm probably going to sat with a lot of mums. Happy days. So yeah, you stay happy, you stay safe. I'll see you next time. I love you long time. Bye bye.